I really love where I'm from. Like, I'm really proud to be from California, from Central California, from Fresno.
Yes.
They call it where the palm meets the pine.
Yep.
And I mean, it's not tattooed on my chest for no reason, you know? I have never voted for a president, not once. The president is my boss at the end. That feels weird to me, because our job isn't politics, our job is serving people. Our job is government and governance and responsible allocation of resources to solve a maximum number of problems.
Right.
I am a conservative. I've been a registered Republican since I was 16. I'm not serving just the people who are in my party. It's not the decisions of Nick or the beliefs of Nick that need to run the city. It's the beliefs of the people who put me in that job.
That's right.
As soon as somebody tells you they know your community better than you do, they're full of it. Don't ever listen to a politician who says that.
Why do you believe there's such a night and day difference between the north side of Fresno and areas like the south and west side?
School district.
School district.
I will give you this, the quality of roads, district by district, my district has the worst quality roads anywhere in the city, mile by mile. And I don't want to sound like I'm accusing anybody of stuff, but in my opinion, it makes more sense financially. It makes more sense job-wise. It makes more sense legislatively, and it makes more sense tax-wise to adjust this project labor agreement that has been put in place. So there has to be something else that is keeping it there. What could it be if it's not money, people, or jobs? I'm worried that that is an influence on some of the people in local elected office. Listen, man, every globalist who comes to Fresno, I'll punch them right in the face. What do you want me to do, man? I'm here to fix your potholes. I'm here to make sure you have cops and firefighters who are taken care of. Here to make sure your kids stay safe. You know, anybody who breaks into your house gets arrested. Like, I'm here to provide for your most basic level of things. I've seen the other side of it. I've seen the folks tell me that I'm not going to do anything unless I bend the knee and toe the line and kiss the ring, and they're saying, hey punk, remember all the promises you made? Time to deliver.
Welcome to the Fresno Citizens Forum. I'm Ulyssis J, España, Marine Corps veteran, political science student, and creator of this platform dedicated to local truth and civic power. Today I'm honored to be sitting down with Councilman Richardson, Fresno City Councilman from District 6, a fellow Marine, combat helicopter pilot, public servant, and a man whose campaign was built not by consultants and big money, but by community, family, and footwork. I had the opportunity to meet Councilman Richardson this past weekend at the Empowerment Institute's campaign workshop. And after hearing just a small part of his story, I knew we needed to bring that conversation to you. So, let's start with the foundation. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing, and what led you to make the decision to become a Marine.
Sure. So, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I was born and raised here in Fresno. You know, my parents were great. Very soon after I was born, my dad moved to Germany. He got a job as a professional basketball coach over there.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
So a lot of my childhood was kind of, you know, mom's house, dad's house kind of thing. Just a 13-hour flight in between. And what I learned from that was, one, the world's a big place full of people who speak and think and eat and believe differently than you. And you got to respect that.
Yes.
And the second thing I learned is that I really love where I'm from. Like, I'm really proud to be from California, from Central California, from Fresno. They call it where the palm meets the pine. And I mean, it's not tattooed on my chest for no reason, you know? So I knew very early on that I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to go be an ambassador for my country. I wanted to go show people that Americans and Californians and Fresnans loved them, and we were great, and we're here to help. And if I could do that in Marine Corps dress blues, I know there was a lower chance that anybody would steal my girlfriend while I was gone. And when it came to picking a branch of the military, you know, I'd read books and stuff. I was a big books kid. Still am. And all these larger than life characters that you read about, the Chesty Pullers and John Bassilones and John Daly or Dan Daly's and, you know, Ira Hay, they were all Marines. So whether it was, you know, Nicaragua, Panama, Haiti, China, Japan, you know, Pacific, wherever it was, North Africa, it was the Marines who were stepping in and making a difference. It's like, well, gosh, if I'm going to join the military, I got to look at all the branches.
Right.
And I did. And, each branch is run very differently, and they
Right.
kind of, value a certain approach to things. But the Marine Corps was like a religion.
Right.
Like we were talking about before we started filming, the fact that we're the smallest branch,
Right.
yet you see more bumper stickers, on cars driving
Right.
around,
Right.
and tattoos and everything,
Yep.
with the Eagle Globe and Anchor on
That's
it.
right. Yep.
That told me that it wasn't going to be like joining the military. It was like joining a family.
Right.
And I knew I needed that kind of guidance and mentorship and everything. And I played water polo at the time, so I was already amphibious by nature.
Right. Yeah.
I knew that the Marine Corps was a choice for me, and I haven't regretted that decision once.
Right. Got to be the best of the best.
That's it.
All right. So on Saturday, you mentioned that you served as a combat helicopter pilot and then transitioned into an infantry officer. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a commissioned officer and how that shaped your character.
Sure. So I was blessed to receive an ROTC scholarship to go to the Virginia Military Institute on the East Coast.
Yes.
Where Chesty Puller went for a while. Claim to fame at one of our Marine Corps balls. I actually got to slow dance with his daughter.
Wow, that's
She was like
awesome.
150, but it was cool,
No,
right?
that's a giant bragging point.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So the day before graduation from there, I graduated with a couple degrees, modern languages and culture with an emphasis in French, and then political science.
There you go.
I commissioned in the Marine Corps on May 15th, 2013. And after coming home for a few months of kind of a break, went to the basic school and everything else, ended up in flight school. I didn't join to fly, but they didn't have any jobs as interpreters or translators for officers.
Right.
So I had to figure out something else to do.
Right.
Qualified to be a pilot, I figured I'd stick with that. But if I was going to fly, I'm the oldest of 5. I wanted to fly Huey helicopters because it's a team. It's not a one-man show, right? And I wanted to fly them in Hawaii because that just sounded really cool.
Yeah, it does
was a
sound
part of the world I didn't have a lot of experience in the Pacific like I did in Europe. So went to flight school. Florida, and then on the West Coast. And my first active duty unit, they sent me out to HMLA 367, Scarface, based out of Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, where they used to be.
Yep.
So I flew the UH-1 Yankee Venom, the Huey gunship helicopter. It was a great time. It was a blessing. It was a super fun, enriching, rewarding, challenging way to spend my 20s.
Yeah.
And through that, I got to travel all over the world, to places where they liked us, places that didn't like us so much. I got to expand my language skills.
Yep.
So I'm a pretty good helicopter pilot, but I'm a really good translator. Like,
There you
language
go.
is my real passion.
There you go.
So got to learn Tagalog and Japanese and Korean and all kinds of stuff. So that was most of my active duty time.
Yep.
Now I had a commitment, like a 6-year commitment after I got my wings. That was 3.5 years in already, so it was essentially a 10-year commitment.
There you go.
So I could have stayed in that community, in the air community, and gone to another unit, or kind of wanted to stay in Hawaii at the time.
Yeah.
Continue what I'd been doing in the Pacific, right? Constant trips to South China Sea, Korea,
Right, yeah.
Mainland. There was an infantry unit down the street that needed someone who was tough enough to be an infantry officer.
Right.
You were waterproof. You didn't mind your feet bleeding and being in the mud and whatever else and carrying heavy weight.
Yep.
But somebody who could speak pilot language.
Yeah.
Well, that was my bread and butter.
Yeah.
I felt like the pilot world was a little softer than I liked sometimes.
Yeah.
A little more kind of competitive. So I went to a school to learn how to be a forward air controller or a joint terminal attack controller, or a JTAC.
Right.
And then I went and joined the infantry. I went and joined 1st Battalion, 3rd Marines as a forward air controller for them. So I would attach to the infantry units, and we'd all go out in the bush. And when they ran into something that their guns couldn't destroy, or they needed a ride, or they needed a resupply, or whatever, I'm the one who'd get on the radio and coordinate that for them.
Awesome.
2022, I moved to the reserves. That allowed me to come home. And from my active duty time, the thing that I was most proud of out of all that, it wasn't the number of flight hours I got or how good I was at shooting rockets or, PFT score. It was the fact that I took seriously the stuff outside of my regular job too.
Yep.
So I got a little award. I ran the most successful suicide prevention program
There you go.
and the substance abuse counseling program of any of the Marines in the Pacific. Because it's oftentimes, it's not sexy, people forget about it, but it's just as important to know what to do to the
Right.
bad guys and know what to do for the good guys.
Exactly.
So it made me happy when Marines could come home to their families and not be addicted to things and not, be suicidal or severely depressed or whatever. So
No, yeah, that's very noble
was
of
it.
you, and I would say that it's probably more important to take care of our guys first than to take care of the bad guys. Because if
Sure.
we don't have our guys taken care of, then the bad guys can't get taken care of. So,
I agree.
so yeah. How did your military service help prepare you for the responsibility of being a councilman?
Honestly, I think that military side of it, it did prepare me. I'll get into that, but I think it also gave me a set of expectations.
Right.
That you got to be realistic.
Right.
You know, it's like your first car you get to drive is your dad's Porsche or whatever else, and it's time for you to get your first car. You go to the first car lot, and Dad goes, "Look, dude, you're not getting a Porsche. You need to temper your expectations, right?"
You're going to Toyota Camry.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, a 98 Toyota Camry.
Right.
So I got as I came back and started working in the civilian world, I got used to tempering my expectations. And like I talked about on Saturday, sometimes you gotta lower the standard that you hold for other people sometimes, but that doesn't mean that you get to lower your own standard.
Right.
So the standard that I set for myself in the Marine Corps is the same standard I hold now.
Yep.
You know, I'm still PTing, I'm still waking up early, I'm still doing my homework and research and everything.
Yep.
I think it prepared me in that it got me used to leaving politics out of it, which is very helpful. In the Marine Corps, there's not a lot of political talk.
Yeah, it's not very political, and it's actually encouraged not to engage in those kinds of conversations just for the sake of the workplace and
Totally.
stuff like that.
Yeah, like we work for the government,
Right.
but what decisions the government makes,
Yeah.
we're the ones who have to go do it.
Right.
So, in fact, I have never voted for a president. Not once.
Yep.
Because the president is my boss at the that
Right.
feels weird to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Same thing, George Marshall never voted for president. Jim Mattis, same way. A lot of the people that we look up to
Right.
have never, because that's two worlds I don't want to touch.
Right.
So that prepared me for this job in that with my staff, we don't talk politics. As soon as you come in the doors at City Hall, you leave all your personal politics, your personal hang-ups, your bias or whatever, you leave it at the door.
Right.
Because our job isn't politics, our job is serving people.
That's right.
Our job is government and governance and responsible allocation of resources to solve a maximum number of problems.
Right, that's right.
And the more we get bogged down in the politics part of it, I think the more we lose sight of what is really important.
Yep.
So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing the Marine Corps taught me, outside of the regular
Right.
how to conduct yourself kind of things.
Honor, courage, commitment. Yep.
Yeah.
So in your bio, you mentioned being a compassionate conservative. How does that differ from traditional conservatism?
That is conservatism, liberalism, libertarian, I mean, you name it. There's not it doesn't really, it explains a set of values or a set of things that you maybe prioritize over other things.
Right.
But it doesn't really touch much on the compassion side of it.
Right.
It was probably the programs that I talked about in the Marine Corps
Yes.
that taught me that not only do you have to teach your Marines and you have to instruct your Marines and you have to make sure they're equipped and everything else, but you've got to love them.
Yep.
You have to, if you don't love the people who are working and serving with you,
Yep.
then you're not going to be constantly thinking about what's best for them in the back of your head, right?
Right.
You have to care about their family, their job, their money, their choices,
Yep.
what they're putting in their bodies.
Right.
If you don't love them, you're not going to be the kind of leader that oftentimes,
Yep.
young service members need.
Yep. And I will say too that, during my time in the Marine Corps, there was a lot of leadership that, didn't have that in their, in their way of leading. They didn't care as much as they should have for the Marines. And,
Sure.
and that reflects back. I mean, when you stop caring for the people that you're supposed to be leading, they don't see you as a leader. They don't see you as that person that
You
they
become
should
a
look
boss.
up to. Yep. You become a boss.
With this job, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the leaving the politics aside, I am a conservative. I've been a registered Republican since I was 16. But that, I think it's important for, and the reason I put it on there, I think it's important for people to know that I'm serving you. I'm not serving just the people who are in my party.
Right.
And I'm not serving you because I want to enact politically the things that I like more.
Right.
Serving you because I love you.
Yeah.
And if you need something that's different from, the things that I like,
Right.
I got to prioritize your stuff. It's not the decisions of Nick, or the beliefs of Nick that need to run the city or run the district. It's the beliefs of the people who put me in that job.
That's right.
And I think that's something else that we lose as soon as we start getting distracted by parties.
No, of course, just to, focus on the wants and needs of the people. I think that's awesome. So your campaign story stood out to me. You described it as bare bones. A lot of door knocking, small team. Your fiance as campaign manager, right? Yeah, so that's awesome. And then, so walk us through that. What made you decide to run and how did you win?
So what made me decide to run, it's, kind of what I spoke about the other day. It's repeatable story. It's very basic, right?
Right.
I saw the normal regular changing of the political environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of look a few waves out as you're surfing and you see what it's, you know, it's a Hawaii thing, right? You look a few waves out and you see what's coming. And I realized that, one, if you are anyone who doesn't align with the political party, Fresno City Council used to be about half and half.
Yep.
It's not that way anymore. It was 6-1 when I moved home. And that one was the one who was different. He happens to be my same political party.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the only veteran in City Hall.
Yep. It's Gary Bredderfield, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've got a city that has 250,000 people in that political party,
mm-hmm.
and you've got 20-something thousand veterans in the city,
right.
it's my opinion that it's important that they get a voice.
Representation.
You know, yeah. They shouldn't have all the voice,
right.
but they should definitely be present at the table, right?
That's right.
So I knew, after looking at the field and kind of who was likely to step up and run for it, that I had two options. I could either not do anything, always wonder what would have happened, and just complain
mm-hmm.
for the next 4 years that I don't feel heard.
Right.
Or, even if we didn't win, I could go out on a limb, I could try to run my first campaign ever, and go show people in person that, hey, someone hears you, someone is here, even if I don't win, mm-hmm. I'm still here to fight for you.
Yep.
I still have values that are going to benefit both of us,
mm-hmm.
And you still matter.
Yep.
And it was worth it to me, right? At some point I got to look my kids in the eye and say either dad did nothing and sat back and watched, or dad stepped up to do something to make your hometown and your life 1% better.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to sleep with myself, you know, well at night if I went with the first choice. So had some tough conversations with the family. And I know some other candidates that day were saying that, hey, you know, they were asked to run, and totally understand that happens a lot. Mm-hmm. But mine was a very serious conversation with myself, because one of the differences, since we're talking about Marine Corps stuff, one of the differences between boot camp and OCS. Boot camp, the function there is they will break you down, mm-hmm. build you back up as a team. Mm-hmm. If you want to quit, if you're falling behind or whatever else, they will use the others to motivate you, right?
Yep.
They will motivate you if they have to, and they're very good at it.
They are very good at it.
But they like building a team that will motivate itself.
Yes.
So that when one of you loses that drive, the others around you can kind of stoke that fire.
Yes.
Right? Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that 100%. I mean, that's the tactic they employed during boot camp, you know, as aggressively as they could, and it works. It works well.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. OCS is the other way.
Yeah.
At OCS, they don't teach you anything. They test you on things you should already know. And if you start to lose that fire, you're falling behind, they bring you your resignation papers.
Wow.
They go, here, leave. If you want to leave, take this, sign it, get out of here. We don't have time for you. Mm-hmm. There's no, we'll build you up. There's no, you can do it, I swear.
Right.
It's, if you can't motivate you, if you can't lead you, how are you supposed to lead Marines who were scared and tired and hungry and broke?
That's a good point.
And hurt and everything else.
Yeah.
So very different, and that was a mentality that I had to make sure that I had in me before I started this campaign. Because it was going to be long days. Yep. Like you mentioned, we got out and walked flyers a whole bunch.
Right, a lot of
it's 112 degrees outside.
Yeah, very hot.
What's it look like for me if I tell all the volunteers and everything to go out there and walk, and I'm sitting at home, you know, popping bonbons with my feet up on the couch.
Right, no, yeah.
So I, again, had that conversation with myself. I said, this is the most disciplined I'm going to have to be. And I have to lead the charge. I have to be at that point of friction, right? I got to be where it's hottest or where it's coldest or where it's the most walking or whatever else to prove to everybody else, I am here to lead you and I mean it. I'm going to walk the walk, right?
Right. That's that, going back to that, not being a boss, but being a leader.
That's it.
Yep.
So our staff, I mean, the volunteers and folks who came out with us, none of them were paid anything. Yep. You know, I bought them coffee if they showed up in the morning on a Saturday. Yeah. But they were, and this is really inspiring to me, they were out there because they wanted to be there. They believed in it, right? I know at another point during that presentation, they talked about swag, how like, don't waste your money on swag. I got to say, I kind of disagreed with that because it feels good to belong to something. Yes. And when everyone shows up and they're all wearing matching hats, folks feel cool about that, you know?
Yes, 100%.
They like feeling like they're part of a team instead of just a bunch of people who happen to be here drinking coffee at the same time. So we really built that feeling of family, of like a unit, a cohesive unit in the volunteers, if you will. So that was really what got me across it. A little bit of it was kind of my ideas, but I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself.
Yeah. No, yeah, and that's something that I've discussed with my team as well. Just the fact of just having a similar uniform or similar, you know, just a hat or a shirt or something that ties us together. It just brings a tighter sense of cohesion, like you said, and it just, you know, brings everybody together to work on things together and to have less friction and to feel more like a family, like you said. So I do agree with that point.
You know what our motto was in the campaign?
What was it?
It was District 6, right? Running for District 6.
Yeah.
It was Nick's got my 6.
There you go. There you
One,
go.
it rhymes. That's great.
Yes.
2, it has the 6 in it. That's also great.
Right.
But 3, it was really the truth. It was the feeling that I wanted to instill in people. In the military, if you're not familiar, we say your 6 o'clock is behind you, right? Like a clock. So if you've got someone's back, you say you've got their 6 o'clock or their 6.
That's right.
That was the whole point. Hey, all the folks up here in North Fresno, I don't have to agree with you politically.
Right.
We don't have to go to the same church. We don't have to speak the same language.
Right.
I've got your back, and that's why I'm doing this, because I want to go downtown and have your back.
There you go.
And that was one of those things that go, well, shoot, clearly he's got my back. Look at all the stuff he's doing.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So like you said, you represent District 6 here in Fresno. What are some of the biggest concerns from your constituents right now?
So I was under the impression when I started the campaign that everyone in the city was concerned with like 3 things.
Yeah.
Right? Small businesses, cost of living, homelessness.
Right.
What I found out is that almost block by block in the city, at least in District 6, everyone's concern is different.
Right.
Everyone's in a slightly different position money-wise. Everyone's in a slightly different position kids-wise or
Right.
school-wise or whatever.
Right.
I'll give you some examples. So what I found out is the folks who are up at Woodward Lake, in the far northern part of the city, a nice little lake, nice area, there's a vacant lot over there that is about to be developed by some folks who legally can build whatever they want there.
Right.
They want to build something the folks don't like. That is their biggest issue.
Yeah.
There's everything else is secondary. That is their biggest problem.
Okay.
So when I talk to them, that has to be my biggest issue too.
Right.
I have to be a warrior for that, right?
Right.
We've got folks over between Herndon and Sierra, between Cedar and Chestnut, that a company is coming in and buying up old houses with cash, gutting and like ruining the whole thing and turning it into a very profitable like care facility. And they're breaking the rules and they're doing all kinds of stuff that the state's. But for those people whose home value is now slashed and they have a hard time selling their house without taking a huge loss, that is, I mean, that's their investment. That's their home.
Right.
That's like the most expensive thing you'll ever own. So for them, that's the biggest thing. Other people living along Alluvial, it's the speed of the cars that are transiting as they're trying to take their kid to and from school.
Yeah.
You know, folks who are between Herndon and Sierra or Herndon and Bullard along First, their biggest issue is the streets.
Yeah.
Their streets are crumbling over there and falling apart.
Right.
So it's as nice and easy as it is to say, well, my constituents are worried about ABC.
Right.
It really is different, and you don't know those things. As soon as somebody tell you they know your community better than you do, they're full of it. Don't ever listen to a politician who says that.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to go have that personal interaction, and like sit with Nana as she walks you out to her sidewalk and points at the part where the tree is pushing up on it, right? Or, you know, walk down the street with the couple who goes, look, the stop sign here, you can't see it because the tree's overgrown and no one wants to fix it. It's that very personal, that almost intrusive leadership. Where kind of like a dog, you want to go around and smell the butts of other dogs and see how they're living and where they're eating. Are you sleeping all right? Are you sick? Are you healthy? That I'm sure you've had good leaders in the Marine Corps who were that way. They want to get in your business and tell you how to do things, but they are actively invested in how you're, and they want to know exactly what your problem is. That's what I would want from my elected officials. So that is how I set my problem set for what my constituents were going through.
So you haven't been in office very long, but are there any wins that you've been able to deliver? And what's maybe a battle that you're currently fighting right now?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So a couple wins. There are 2 parts of this job. There's the reactive side, where you've got to be an athlete. A problem pops up, you got to be able to fix it. Then there's the and you can't really predict those. There's the proactive side, though. This is the fun part. This is where all of your good ideas you've ever had, or wouldn't it be nice, or why don't we do this, or whatever, that you get to do all those things. And that's fun. That's awesome. Like, you know, you'll be taking a shower one day and, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if my city went and, you know, took care of old people, or took, you know, kids in poor families and like took them camping for the week, whatever. That you're able actually in a position like this to have the authority to do. So a few things that we've done for the first time ever, which blows my mind. For me, it's cool. As a taxpayer, it's frustrating. It's never. A few things that we've been able to do. I actually should have brought one in here with me. The first thing, when I came into office, no one apparently has done this, but I came in January and I said, okay, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to schedule a sit-down meeting with every single principal of every school in the district. They fall into the school district. They're not in the city's jurisdiction. But as soon as these kids step onto the sidewalk or the last bell rings for the day, we have shared responsibility for this kid. They don't want to be walking home if they got to step over needles, or if the sidewalk's broken, or if there's no stop sign, there's car. So that was important to me, and that was something that we knocked out in the probably first 100 days or so.
Okay.
After I did that, I sent my staff out. I said, you guys are now, since I walked to all the houses twice, you guys are going to go walk to all the businesses.
Okay.
So my staff walked into every single business in the district, not just to walk in there and say they did, but they took all the laws that went into effect in Sacramento on January 1st that might affect a small business, brought it to all of them. Hey, you didn't ask for this, but all these things might help you. Just information for you. We gathered information back too. So now I have a list of every single business in my district, which doesn't exist in any other district. I don't know why.
That is crazy.
It never, and it didn't make sense to me.
Right.
You got to know what you got, right?
Exactly. I feel like that should be the first step, is to map out your own district.
Very basically, right? But part of that was we were able to find out how many veteran-owned businesses we had in the district.
Wow.
And, like on Veterans Day, how you can go online and find out that Applebee's has like free appetizers or like get half off nachos or whatever.
I think there's even like an app or something that like tells you like every single place that you could go to.
Sure. And November 11th, it's a real hot thing to do. Okay, what about like November 12th and all the other days of the year?
All right. Yeah.
No place have I ever lived that had a list of like veterans discounts year round. You can go ask, fine. But what I had my staff put together was list every single business in Northeast Fresno that has a veterans discount and what the discount is. Whether it's a free smoothie, 25% off pair of shoes, free third haircut, or whatever.
Right.
So now we have a brochure that I can give to any veteran who next time they're in Northeast Fresno, they can save some money, and maybe they're going to visit some businesses they wouldn't have otherwise.
That's awesome.
Everyone wins, right? So that
go.
was a big victory for us. We hosted the first ever Fresno Fitness Fest. You got Tequila Fest. You got Weed Fest. You got Whiskey. You got all kinds of great. But how about something that teaches the people in the community different ways to invest in their own health, right?
Yeah.
So we did. We brought out medical partners. We brought out the cops and firefighters. They played a big soccer game. We had rotating 30-minute classes from all kinds of different gyms and yoga studios and martial arts centers and whatever.
That's awesome.
That really got people, and especially kids, excited about different ways to look out for their own physical, mental, emotional, nutritional, financial health.
Yep.
That meant a lot to me. And we're going to keep it going because it was very popular.
That is awesome.
We held the first ever Fresno Freedom, the flag retirement and emplacement event delivered by our military. So we had uniformed military folks come out, take flags that we had donated. We accepted requests for like 3 weeks. Anybody in the city, regardless of which district, how much you make, what your part, it didn't matter. If you needed a new flag for 4th of July, we had the military come out and deliver it. So everyone, all the volunteers got letters, volunteer service letters, go on their permanent record, that helps them. We got food donated. And these folks had a great interaction with the military getting a new flag.
That's awesome.
And the last thing I'd say, there were a few other ones, but another thing we got done was the SERV Act, the Small Enterprise Relief for Veteran Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
We removed business license fees, business permitting fees, and tax relief for any veteran who wants to open a business in Fresno.
There you go.
Why didn't that exist before? I don't know. Other cities have it. We just didn't. Well,
and that's something that the representation brings to the table. I mean, just, you being a veteran, you getting into the office, you mapping out the district and then figuring it out and, providing the brochure and all that stuff. That's something that representation brings to the table. That probably would not have happened had somebody who was not a veteran been elected to that seat.
We will never know. Yeah, we might find out in 4 or 8 years.
Yeah, that's right. So what's something about Fresno that pissed you off enough to run?
Something about Fresno that pissed me off enough to run. I think, when I was considering running, we talked about this a little bit. I went and asked people, how do you run a campaign? What wins an election? What's the secret sauce here? What do I have to do?
Right.
And what I was told was, you've never run for anything before,
right.
So you'll probably lose the first time. But then you need to get a lot of money.
Right.
You probably need at least $100,000. You'll need endorsements from all these people, so you got to go interview. Right. You got to have a rich uncle. You got to have a secret in. You got to blackmail somebody. Right. All these other things that are traditionally what people will do to win an election.
Right.
Maybe not the blackmail part.
That's something that they said in the workshop too. Is like you're probably going to lose your first time. You need money. You need endorsements. That kind of thing. So,
brother, sitting through that talk on Saturday, I heard so many of the things that I was told before I ran, and I realized that I think it was important that I was there.
Yeah.
Because people are hearing the same stuff everywhere they look.
Right.
And if all those things were true, we wouldn't be in this position right now. You
that,
wouldn't be interviewing me.
Yeah, right. Your story stood out to me exactly for that reason. I mean, that's something that I've heard as well, is that you're going to need 50,000, you're going to need 100,000, you're going to need all these endorsements. And then hearing your story, it was like, wow, you really don't need all that stuff.
All you need, man, when it comes to running an election, this is at every level. It's that formula I put up. You need the ability to have valid contact.
Right.
One, good actual solid contact with someone other than just seeing your name. And two, actually have reasons that they're going to want to vote for you.
Right.
Right? If you siphon yourself down to one monolith, like I am, say, a nurse or a teacher, I'll say a teacher. I'm a teacher. I want you to vote for me because I'm a teacher. Right. If that's all they have to go off, you're not really giving them much, right?
Right.
Well, you didn't show up when my church burned down.
Right.
You didn't show up when, they tried to have a food drive for this family. You didn't show up when, we were out because we believed in this thing. You didn't help it. So you're a teacher? Great. Well, I love teachers. Like, I was a teacher in Clovis. I was a substitute teacher in Clovis Unified for a long time.
But what else are you going to do?
What else? Exactly. Those valid contacts with people, something that sticks in their mind, something that gives them that faith in you above someone else.
Yep.
That's all you need. And however much money you need to do that, whatever your method is.
Yep.
Maybe you want to call every single person every single day.
Right.
Whatever your method is, mine was walking and physically talking to all of them.
Yep.
I would recommend it,
Yep.
but it's a crazy person thing to do. We just needed enough money for that.
Yeah.
Our fundraisers were primarily, they were just free events.
Right.
At people's houses. We got food donated, we got wine donated.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe it'd raise like a couple $100 here or there because people would chip in.
Yeah.
But more important was you spread that fire.
Right.
Right? There's what's called a firehawk in Australia. It's terrible. It's very mean. But what these firehawks will do is they'll go around the outback and they'll find a fire and they'll pick up a burning branch and they'll go drop it in other grass that isn't on fire to start a fire there. Because as soon as a fire starts, all the bugs and the little lizards and reptiles and birds and everything start leaving and they eat them. So you got to start spreading that fire in places that ordinarily wouldn't have heard of you. That's how we did it, man. It didn't cost a lot of money.
Yep.
It didn't take big endorsements. It didn't take a high-paid staff. It was just being willing to get out there and go spread the fire yourself.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, that is inspiring. I'm sure it's going to be inspiring for a lot of people that have the motivation to go run for office and you don't have necessarily those endorsements, that rich uncle, money, any of that stuff. So I think that your story is truly inspiring.
After that little story about the fire, I obviously didn't get the endorsement of the firefighters union, but whatever.
Yeah. So now that you're in the seat, what are you hearing from your colleagues about other districts? Are there shared concerns across the council, or is every district kind of its own little world?
Not even close. In fact, I would point out South Blackstone is probably the area where the districts come the closest to each other. So just yesterday, I was in a meeting with staff for, we've got District 2, which is northwest, District 6, which is northeast, District 4, which is kind of central east, and 7, which is central. And we're all working together to work on Blackstone. Blackstone, if you're not familiar, is like the economic backbone of the city.
Yep.
Not just because it's in the middle, but it runs right along the 41 freeway. It's wide enough that you have all kinds of economic development areas over there, car dealerships and whatever, you name it.
Yep.
We also have moved, over the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of our homeless population from where they traditionally were down closer to the shelters.
Yep.
Well, we've bought, acquired, and built new shelter facilities along Blackstone, so that population has moved with them.
Right.
Now, there's a logistical crisis,
Right.
a practical crisis, and a humanitarian crisis. You got to look at both, right?
Right.
But the issue with this, and I'll end here because we're not here to talk about homelessness the whole time, but that's affecting the businesses.
Yeah.
You bring in a big population like that, you're going to bring drug use, sometimes fights, sometimes people living outside,
Right.
people who are, needing to find something to sell to make some money, and that has a negative direct impact on businesses.
Right.
So we work together on a lot of those things. There are some issues that certain districts have that we don't. For example, the Southeast Development Area, the SEDA project going on, is very heavily involved with District 5, because that's going to be added on to District 5. Doesn't really touch District 6.
Not at all.
I still have to do my homework on it because people still call and want to talk to me about it.
Right.
And I'll go talk to anybody about anything. But each district has a different flavor kind of the same problems, and maybe some more specific kind of focused things. But overall, we need to have the same vision and the same priorities for looking out for people.
Right.
And those shouldn't change district to district.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. I do think that, the homelessness crisis is one of the biggest issues that I think that across Fresno people will agree that that's, become an issue. And I do think that there needs to be a humanitarian way of handling the situation while also protecting those small businesses from, the crisis that is going on. I mean, for sure, you don't want people fighting and shooting up and smoking outside of your business or even anywhere near your homes or parks or any of that stuff. So we definitely need to come to a resolution on that, try and find some way forward with that. But,
well, you got, you got a gal and two daughters living in a tent out in kind of an abandoned field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's homelessness. Mm-hmm. You got a guy without a shirt on running around screaming, holding knives. Like, that ain't homelessness, man.
Yeah,
that's a different thing.
It's a different issue. Yeah. So let's move on here. Fresno has a 1.1 billion backlog in infrastructure needs. How best do you think Fresno should solve that crisis?
Well, I can tell you how we are.
Right.
So the $100 million bond,
right,
with the pay more now, pay later plan.
Mm-hmm.
As a fiscal conservative, mm-hmm. those words in that order make me a little nervous.
Right.
But seeing how it's broken down, it kind of, I can understand it and swallow that pill a little easier. I will also say we're in a very weird position in Fresno because yes, we are in California and California invests a lot into its infrastructure.
Right.
But given the politics and given the location of Fresno, mm-hmm. right, we're not on the 5. Right. That's a huge thing.
Right.
I didn't realize that until I got into government, that how much it means not being on the backbone of the state. Right. 99 is a little different.
Yep.
But when it comes to investing in your own infrastructure, a lot of that money is raised locally, fair.
Right.
But a ton of it is raised through SB1. SB1's a gas tax. So it's a statewide gas tax. Why gas costs a little more in California? Because they raise that money and then they invest that back into the roads, gutters,
right.
sewers,
yep.
curbs of the state. As Fresno, or even as Fresno County, or honestly, even as just Central California, we are not the priority for Sacramento
right.
when it comes to the allocation of that money.
Right.
Politically, geographically, industrially, you name it.
Right.
So we can joke ourselves and say, well, we'll ask the state for more money. Right. Or, and this hurts my heart to say this because I'm a low tax guy, I'm not a new tax guy at all.
Right.
We have what's called Measure C.
Right.
Measure C is a county initiative to essentially implement, I think it's an 1/8 or 1/4 of a cent tax that raises infrastructure money that stays here.
Right.
So we get to prioritize our own infrastructure outside of just what taxes will pay for through the general fund.
Right.
We get to prioritize this at a level that Sacramento never will.
Yep.
So if we actually are serious about these things, we've got to make sure Measure C is in place, and every time it comes up, it gets voted for. We've got to swallow that pill
yep.
if we want roads.
Right. And that's been going on since 1980, I think it was.
It was in the 80s that Measure C was proposed,
right.
yeah, and first implemented.
Yep.
So things like that definitely help.
Yep.
I mean, we have to be mindful about how that money's getting spent.
Yes.
If you're going to repave a road and you don't look at the schedule that PG&E or AT&T or whatever is coming through first,
right.
and they have to dredge through that road,
mm-hmm.
well, now that project's more expensive for everybody.
Yep.
So strategic timing when it comes to layering the services is very important with that. I think we've gotten to a point where the expansion of our roads is kind of slowing down.
Yeah.
We're getting to the edges of the city.
Right.
So now hopefully some of that money can go back into, revitalization of existing infrastructure.
Yeah. No, and specifically speaking on that, so the next question has to do with exactly that, infrastructure needs. Why do you believe there's such a night and day difference between the north side of Fresno and areas like the south and west sides?
School district.
School districts? So if you'd like to elaborate on that.
Sure. Speaking to a developer of homes, mm-hmm. I said, what do you look for when you are looking at an area to buy and build houses?
Right.
And he says, I look for 3 things. One, I look for existing infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
If there are electrical conduits already running through the area, great, means less trenching. If there's existing water and sewer, great, we don't have to pay to extend it out. That's the first thing, makes it way cheaper for them. Second thing, municipal certainty, meaning if this is zoned for residential, single family, and I buy this to build single family homes, mm-hmm. and the city changes their mind and rezones it to multifamily residential, right. that changes my entire plan. Does this happen with residential? Sometimes, not so often. Does it happen with commercial or industrial? Yes, it does a lot. Mm-hmm. They don't want that. That doesn't instill faith in the developer, right? The fact that the city and the county couldn't come up with a tax sharing agreement for 6 years and they just kind of fought each other on it, not encouraging. This is why we see things like Tesoro Viejo and Madera pop up, because a developer is sitting looking at Fresno going, gosh, I'd really like to build again, but the government can't make up its own mind.
Right.
I'm going to go find something that's a sure bet. I don't want people leaving Fresno. That's how you find yourself in a housing shortage.
Yep.
That's how you find yourself with businesses active leaving where people are left here unemployed.
Right.
That's how you find areas of neglect or whatever because businesses don't want to invest there.
Right.
So that's an issue. But the third thing he said this developer says determines whether or not he's going to buy a lot and build houses on it, is the school district. Up in District 6, we're about 90-ish percent, 92% Clovis Unified.
Yep.
Clovis Unified has built, over the last 70 years, a fantastic reputation for running schools.
Yep.
They have. What is that secret? I don't know. I wasn't on the Clovis Unified School Board 45 years ago. Couldn't tell you. But they've done it.
Yep.
Done it very successfully, very well. People want to live in those school districts. They want their kids going to those schools.
Right.
Is Bullard a great school? Yes. Is Roosevelt a great school? Yes. Is Central? Absolutely. But I'm not the one buying the house in this school district or that school district.
Right.
So the biggest determinant, as he said, is that school. So it's not necessarily a north-south thing or an east-west thing. You look at the lines and the boundaries of where Clovis Unified goes. It goes into District 2, it goes into 6, a lot of 6, goes into 4, it goes into part of 7. That's the determinant. So I will give you this, the quality of roads, district by district, my district has the worst quality roads anywhere in the city, mile by mile. It's based on PCI, Pavement Condition Index. So not everything is beautiful and great up there, but school district is a huge part of it. And the second part is what's called a CFD. So nerd out with me for a second. So a CFD is a community facilities district. What a community facilities district is, it's kind of like Measure C, but on a way smaller level.
Okay.
So it'll essentially be a development or a few city blocks or like a little square on the map that imposes a special tax. It's a little bit extra tax there, but all that tax money that's raised has to stay in that CFD. This goes to things like making sure all of your trees are trimmed, making sure that your curbs are freshly painted with the "Don't Park Here" signs, that your fire hydrants are tested regularly, and that the street lights work, and that the lines get repainted on the road. You get all kinds of stuff that stays there. District 6 has a ton of CFDs, and people know that before they move in. It'll be a little bit more expensive, but they're going to do whatever they have to live there because it's in the school district they want to send their kids. So Fresno Unified, I know a lot of great folks there. My aunt is one of the high-ups at Fresno Unified, and I know she busts her butt to do a good job over there. That doesn't change the fact at the end of the day.
Yeah, and so are there any things that the other council members or you as well, or the council members as a whole are doing to address these differences?
The school district?
Just the difference in, I guess so, the school district, not necessarily the school district in itself, but just the differences in infrastructure and
yes and
neglect
yes.
and
Yes and yes. So of the two things that I mentioned, the CFDs and the school district, let's talk about that. CUSD and CFDs. With Clovis Unified, I was just appointed to the school liaison subcommittee. So now I sit on a subcommittee with a member from Fresno Unified and Clovis Unified and Central Unified and Sanger Unified and then city council folks. I want to pop the bubble of isolation that exists between Clovis Unified and Fresno. I'm not a fan of it. I love I went to Clovis Unified. I think it's great, and I know they provide a great service to the community. But I'm a big sharer. Whether it's knowledge or money or food or whatever, I like to share. And there are a lot of kids in the city who could benefit from being able to ride their bike to the library or being able to live in a little neighborhood that has just no crime. There was actually an affordable housing project that was just built in District 6, which is great because these folks would otherwise have to go to another point of the city where they could afford it. But now that it's subsidized housing, they get to move in and they are on the same block as the elementary school. Like their kids are able to walk to this to Mountain View, to a fantastic Clovis Unified school on a safe street that Councilmember Richardson has put a lot of sweat into making sure is very safe and has all the right markings and everything. They get access to maybe a different attempt at life that they wouldn't have had otherwise. That makes me happy. I want to share more of that.
That's awesome.
So whether it's school facilities being open to people use, whether it's free after school care for kids, a lot of these are decisions that I can't make from the city council, but I can definitely go from my constituents to the other governing body and make a case for it. So that's something I can do from the school side. The CFDs, we are also doing something about. There are a couple districts who are trying to institute these CFDs on the western part of the city, being that they now exist primarily on the east side.
Yeah.
I wish them success. I hope it works for them. I hope people develop a sense of pride in their little area and they see their tax money more directly benefiting them and being invested into their landscaping and their streets and their curbs. That would be great to see. And so I am happy to help them with, I'll go knock on doors with them if they like. Whatever they need from us, I'm happy to provide.
So, how do you feel about the way that ICE is handling deportations locally, and what effect do you believe it will have on Fresno and its undocumented families?
How do I feel? So there's a federal question. This is 3 or 4 levels above my office here. So the tactics and procedures and policies and priorities and everything that ICE has, we don't have a lot of visibility on as the council. Those things don't get shared with us or even local law enforcement. I can tell you that there is. Are your parents still married?
My parents are still married.
Okay, well, you're lucky. People with divorced parents are going to get this.
Yeah.
We got mom and dad. We've got the state government. We've got the federal government. There are laws or executive orders or directions or whatever telling us as a city to do, you have to do this, and another one saying you cannot do that.
Right.
Here's the issue. We could just pick which one we like the most and say, no, we don't like this one, so we're just going to follow federal law. Or we don't like the federal law, we're going to follow state law, because they're closer, right? They have a much shorter drive to come down here and kick our butts than they would from DC.
Right.
But that's thinking about it too subjectively. Objectively, how do we continue providing the most for the people in the city who rely on it? Who rely on someone to pick up the phone when they call 911, right? Who rely on the airport to get out of here to go visit grandma in Kansas when she's sick in the hospital. All of these things we owe these people as a city, and this we do have direct control over. So when the state tells us you cannot aid ICE in anything at all, you can't touch them, you can't look at them, don't sneeze in their direction, and the federal government says you have to help ICE with whatever they want, we're stuck in a pickle.
Right.
Because if we break state law, we lose state funding, which is like cops.
Right.
And SB1 money to fix streets.
Right.
And firefighters and maybe schools, who knows?
Right.
If we piss off the federal government, we lose funding for things like the airport.
Right.
And firefighting grants.
Right.
And other things that are very important for the city. So as a city and as a county, the smartest thing that we can do is not purposely go out of our way to step on either set of toes, to continue doing the things right here, right now that we can do for people and provide those things that they put us in office to do. I was asked during my campaign, okay, you want to be on the city council. Well, what are you doing about these globalists at the United Nations?
Right.
I said, listen, man, every globalist who comes to Fresno, I'll punch them right in the face. What do you want me to do, man?
No,
I'm here to fix your potholes. I'm here to make sure you have cops and firefighters who are taken care of, here to make sure your kids stay safe. Anybody who breaks into your house gets arrested.
Right.
Like, I'm here to provide for your most basic level of things.
Yep.
When it comes to, am I going to go to war against the state government or the federal government for you? Doesn't matter who I pick. As soon as I pick up a weapon and put on a jersey and go to fight that fight, you directly lose services.
Yep.
That is not a phone call that I want to explain to somebody that now they have to drive to Idaho because the airport shut down because we lost federal funding, because Nick felt that one way or the other was better.
Right.
Yep. So what their individual, I think that I think there's a database that the city has that they can tap into, or so. I think that's kind of the extent of what we do with them. I can tell you right now that we don't have enough cops in this city sitting on their butt doing nothing to just give them to a federal agency to let them do whatever they want. Our cops are busting their ass out there.
Right.
For the entire Northeast Policing District where I live, it's south of the airport at Clinton, all the way to the edge of the city, Blackstone to Willow, and they have 10 cops on for that whole area at any one time.
Yeah,
10.
That's not a lot.
So if 3 of them are over at a domestic violence call, 2 of them are at a stop, a traffic stop or traffic collision.
Right.
If you call 911, you need the police, there are 5 people available, and that's it. So that is my priority.
Yep.
I don't want to call people and tell them I'm providing or depriving them of services because we decided to take a real tight political stand one way or the other.
Right. Thank you for that answer. So
A detailed, passionate non-answer, I know. But
no, you're good. So moving on now to the big picture. What's your vision for Fresno? If you could wave a wand, what would this city look like 5 years from now?
All right, great question.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit nerdy, but I'm going to do it.
Yep.
If I could wave a wand, a couple things that I would change. One, I would get rid of the city's project labor agreements, or at least change them.
Right.
Currently, the city has a program where it wasn't mandatory. We did it. We have a program where any job that gets money from the city, like the city contracts it out with subcontractors, has to use union labor.
Yep.
If it's over $1 million, which extending a stoplight to include a little left-hand turn signal thing is over $1 million. So everything's over $1 million, right? This cuts out small businesses in the area that aren't unionized. That sucks. It also makes everything more expensive. So Nick's wand, I would fix that. The second thing I would do is something we're actually working on right now, because why wait till you have the wand?
Right.
Build a network of schools who are here to provide discounted schooling, childcare, daycare, whatever else, to first responders in the city. That keeps people here. Yep. That's a significant financial burden for people, paying $20K a year, whatever, to put your kid through daycare.
Yep.
That's very attractive for first responders. Well, more cops, more firefighters, and they'll stay here longer if we can do something like that. What else would I do? I would bring the federal government down and enact a Navy and Marine Corps ROTC program at Fresno State, because that would be a huge benefit to the school, make them more financially sound, and a lot of folks who look to join the military would be able to do that and stay right here in Fresno while they do that.
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Finally, I would make it, I would ban people from backing down from their office to run for something else halfway through their term.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Yeah. No,
we've seen a rash of that lately.
Yes. Yes.
And I hate it a lot.
Yeah. It's no good.
Yeah.
It's no good. So next question. Let's go to what do you believe is standing in the way of getting there currently?
Of all of those things, let's focus on the PLA thing. That's probably the most tangible, right?
Right.
I don't want to sound negative, and I don't want to sound like I'm accusing anybody of stuff.
Right.
But in my opinion, it makes more sense financially. It makes more sense job-wise. It makes more sense legislatively, and it makes more sense tax-wise to adjust this project labor agreement that has been put in place. So there has to be something else that is keeping it there.
Yep.
What could it be if it's not money, people, or jobs? I don't know. And I wish I can assume a lot of things.
Right.
Right? And I'm sure you and I probably could have had a couple conversations with some folks on Saturday who are big fans of it.
Right.
And I'm worried that is an influence on some of the people in local elected office. Not just right now, not speaking specifically about my colleagues.
Right.
I'm saying for years.
Right.
In local government, and I imagine it's not even in Fresno solely, right? This exists in a lot of places.
Yes, definitely.
That is the bigger, like the PLA thing or the term thing, that's a symptom.
Yep.
I think there's a bigger problem, and I think the bigger problem is who we are letting influence our politics. And I know that sounds vague, and it sounds like I'm just kind of screaming into the wind, but I've seen the other side of it.
Right.
I've seen the folks tell me that I'm not going to do anything unless I bend the knee and toe the line and kiss the ring and this and that.
Yep.
And I've seen the freedom side of it, where you don't have to do that, and people aren't calling you on the backside saying, hey, punk, remember all the promises you made? Time to deliver.
Right.
Or else I'm not paying for your net. So, people, you got to pay close attention to where your elected officials are getting their money.
Yes.
Who's doing the work for them.
Right.
Who picked them, who's endorsing them.
Right.
All of that. And it's again, like, okay, I can talk about me all I want. It's free for me because I don't have to worry about those things. But I'm not the whole city. I'm not even the whole city council. I'm not even half of it.
Right.
Where we are getting our elected officials, the things that we value, and who we accept to be put in front of us as elected officials is all of our responsibility. And we need people who value a decision to be made on the basis that I just talked about.
Yep.
What makes sense based on the money, the people, the jobs, the infrastructure, the taxes. If you make a decision based on those things, you're going to win every time.
Exactly.
If you don't, there's something fishy up.
Yep. Councilman Richardson, thank you for your time. I think that a lot of people in this city, especially those trying to find their way forward, will walk away from this conversation with a better understanding of one of the leaders of this city. If you'd like to share any of your socials or contacts, feel free to do so.
All right. You can find us on Instagram if that's your thing. It's Councilman_Richardson, RICHARDSON, basic spelling. On Facebook, we are, I think, Councilman Richardson. Look up District 6, will probably pop up. And those are the two really that we're on. If you want to get a hold of me directly, I'm always here for the conversation. Shoot me an email. I don't care if you like me, don't like me, whatever. Just have a question, want to grab a beer, whatever it happens to be. Phone number of the office is 621-8000, or you can send me an email directly at nick.richardson@fresno.gov. All these things go to my phone, and I'd be happy to engage with anybody who wants to continue their conversation.
For those watching, this is what we do here at the Fresno Citizens Forum. Real conversations with real people. Make sure you share this video, keep your eyes peeled for more. The fight for Fresno isn't coming. It's already here. We'll see you next time.